Hi, Taylor T. Carlson, and back with yet another video for you. Iron Maiden has long been one of my all-time favorite classic hard rock and heavy metal bands. If they put out something new, you better believe I'm going to be there to pick it up. That's why I made sure to pre-order this on Amazon, and it just came the other day. This is Iron Maiden, Knights of the Dead, Legacy of the Beast, live in Mexico City. Very long title, of course, but I'd expect nothing less from one of the most epic of all heavy metal bands. Here's our spine text. We're going to do an unboxing of this, and then I'll share a few opinions of the release, based on the track list and the quality of the performance and the production. Back cover, a lot of great photographs of the band there, doing what they do best on a stage in Mexico City. I'm going to open up the gatefold. Now, this is actually a triple vinyl set, if you didn't already know. Here's the inner gatefold. This thing folds open. Just beautiful artwork and photos here. You got the airplane for Aces High, and at the bottom there you got Bruce Dickinson's sword fighting with Eddie, their zombie mascot. In the center there you got Steve Harris on bass. Just happens to be in front of some angel wings. Then you got the portion there that winds down the set. Already great looking package, but it's the band that I expect nothing less from. So we'll go ahead now and start unboxing the individual sleeves. Disc 1 comes in here. This has an intro from Rod Smallwood. I'm not going to read that whole thing right now. And then each one of these sleeves also has part of the show, the set piece that they were using, as well as a description of what goes on there, as well as some photographs. Each one of these records, the first side of the record has these Mexican church glass print designs. The other side, the second side of each record, has a list of the tracks that are on both sides of said record. Also, I didn't show this off earlier, but inside the gatefold, when you turn this one piece back inside the gatefold, you didn't see this before, but that's like some artwork, and then there's a list of tour dates down there as well. So moving on, that was part 1, which is the war part, according to the inner sleeve of the record. We're going to move on to part 2 now. This is the religion part. Got that great looking angel statue there. Here's the sketches and notes for the set. Got some great photos down there. And then same deal here with the record. You pull this out, you got the sort of Mexican glass church art there, and then you got your track list on that album. Then we got our third disc in here as well. Like I said, triple vinyl set. These guys definitely went all out with the design of this one. This one, you got your Hell portion here with all your set design notes. All the credits are here. The band currently consists of their classic lineup plus one. This is the lineup they've had since about 1999. Bruce Dickinson on vocals, Dave Murray on guitar, Adrian Smith on guitar, Yannick Gears on guitar, Steve Harris on bass, Nico McBrain on drums, and then the unofficial 7th member, Michael Kenny on keyboards. And then you got all your special thanks and tour info and credits and stuff. And again, with the actual disc here, same deal. You got your Mexican church glass design, whatever you want to call that. And then on this side, you have your track list. And I'm going to look on the back of the record. Now, I'm just going to go through and name off the tracks on here, maybe point out some of the highlights. Side 1 has the Churchill speech intro, Aces High, Where Eagles Dare, 2 minutes to midnight. So you basically have three quarters of that is the opening of what you get way back on the World Slavery Tour, plus the addition of Where Eagles Dare, the great opening Cut Off the Peace of Mind record. So if you want to kick off an Iron Maiden concert, you can't do it much better than that. Going down to side 2, The Klansman, The Trooper, Revelations. Klansman is an odd tune because that's actually from the Blaze Bayley period, which is almost never referenced nowadays. Those albums aren't held in very high regard, even though I personally like them, and there's quite a few good tunes to be had there. The Trooper, no explanation required. Great tune off the Peace of Mind record, one of the band's biggest hits. Revelations, another tune from Peace of Mind. Not as big a hit, but still pretty well respected in circles of fans. Side 3, For the Greater Good of God and The Wicker Man. For the Greater Good of God, I actually had to look that song up because that title was not familiar to me. That's from the A Matter of Life and Death album that came out in 2006. It was great to revisit that one because I kind of forgotten about it, which I, kind of feel bad about now. The Wicker Man was the lead-off track on Brave New World, their reunion. One of my all-time favorite Iron Maiden songs, if not my favorite, so very glad they put that one in because that had been largely forgotten since around the time they reunited to promote that out. Side 4, you have Sign of the Cross and Flight of Icarus. Sign of the Cross, a lengthy epic, another track from the Blaze Bayley period. I'm glad to see they're actually giving some love to that era of the band. Opening track on the X Factor, which was the first of those two albums. The Klansman, the other one that was on side 2, that's from Virtual XI or Virtual 11, however you're supposed to pronounce that, which was the second of the two Blaze albums. Flight of Icarus, again, not really an explanation required. Great tune for Peace of Mind. One of the best-known songs by Iron Maiden. Side 5, we have the title track from Fear of the Dark, the title track from The Number of the Beast, complete with the spoken word intro, of course, and the song Iron Maiden, which also serves as the title cut to their 1980 debut album, back when Paul Di'Anno was still in the band. There aren't a whole lot of tracks from that Paul Di'Anno era on here. In fact, I think that's the only one. That's not a bad thing, though, because honestly, I've never been a huge fan of Bruce singing the Paul stuff. Paul was a great singer for his time, and he kicks ass on those two records. And the Bruce versions, I think, just don't quite have the energy of the Paul ones. I think they were right to fire him and bring Bruce into the band. I think that was the right move for the long term. Fear of the Dark is a great track from an underrated album of the same name. The Number of the Beast, if you know Iron Maiden, you know that song. It's just the quintessential anthem. The track Iron Maiden, oddly enough, is probably not one of the biggest hits by the band, but fans know what it is, and it's a great tune. And I would say Bruce does it justice here, even if I still prefer the versions with Paul singing it. Side 6, the final side. The Evil That Men Do, Hallowed Be Thy Name, Run to the Hills. The latter two songs, of course, from the Number of the Beast record. Run to the Hills is kick-ass, to-the-point rock and roll. Hallowed Be Thy Name being the lengthy epic that closed out that record. The Evil That Men Do is off the Seventh Son of a Seventh Son record, and arguably the finest track on that album. Probably their Maiden at their most progressive prior to their eventual reunion. So how do I feel about this release? Overall, I think it's a pretty good track list that covers a lot of eras of the band's career. They've got 16 studio albums to pull from now. Plus, they got a lot of non-album B-sides. Most of those are covers. They don't really play those in concert, but the only real complaint I have with the track list, and again, I'm happy to see them revisit the Blaze Bayley era, but like the last two albums they put out, they just totally ignore. I mean, 10 years back, they put out that album, The Final Frontier. I would love to have had the title track from that here, or what's the other song there? El Dorado. El Dorado's a good one. Would have been great to see them doing, an epic 20-minute version of Empire of the Clouds off the Book of Souls, their most recent studio effort as well. But I think we've had those on live releases before, so I can't really complain too much there. It's like Iron Maiden with their touring schedule, they like to do like a new album tour that's mostly new stuff with a few old favorites thrown in, and then they do like a legacy tour, which is like similar to one of their tours of old where they focus on one of their classic albums and throw in a few more of the classic hits. I absolutely love Iron Maiden, and I'm certainly not disappointed with this release. I'm not going to say it's the best live thing they've ever put out. That title for me will always belong to 1985's Live After Death. Iron Maiden, I think, probably has more live albums than any other heavy metal band. I'm not going to try to name them all here because that could take all night, but even though some of the songs, the performances, aren't necessarily the best versions of these tunes that exist, I think fans are going to like what they get. The sound down here is a little raw. I would like to have had something with maybe a little more punch to it. That might just be me, but overall, not dissatisfied with this release. Apparently, Walmart actually has a colored vinyl release of this. If I'd known that, I would have gotten it there instead of Amazon, but not disappointed with my purchase at all. Are you an Iron Maiden fan? Have you had a chance to pick up this great new live release yet? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also remember to subscribe to my channel for more content and give this video a like if you found it helpful or interesting. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. Up the irons.